There we go.
All right.
Good evening, everybody. For people who are just joining us on YouTube, we have Tom and Jesper here, and Steve is going to be joining us on the phone momentarily.
Good evening, everybody. For people who...
Hey, Tom.
All right. And Steve, are you there?
I am here.
All right.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, what's up, Jesper?
Oh, well, sounds like I'm better than you are.
Yeah, I'm down and out, dude. I'm on my back right now.
Sorry about that.
No worries, man. It is what it is. Luckily, I'm pretty getting past it now, or hopefully.
Yeah.
Body aches have just been wicked, dude. Like some of the most painful body aches I've ever had.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds no fun.
Man, I've had surgeries done from snowboarding and stuff like that. I know pain, and this is wicked, man. It feels like I won't even say needles. People say needles all the time. It feels like nails.
Ouch.
Just everywhere. Just see that, like, you know those what are they called? Salantas? Is that what they are? Those little heat or like radiating heat stickers that you put on to make your joints feel better and stuff.
Right.
I had a box of those, dude. I stuck two on each leg on the front. As soon as I did it, the back went into full blown just pain. And so I stuck them back there. Then it was in the bottom leg. So weird.
Wow.
That doesn't sound pleasant.
No, man, but at least, Tuesday night I was doing a live stream with the Long Island Dash Experience and Q&A for them on their channel, and it was really big. Like there was about 120 to 160 people in there consecutive. They have a big channel, and we do collabs sometimes. I did it on their channel, and I didn't know how long we were going. And about an hour in, I felt fine when we started, but about an hour in, I was like, I feel hot, and I was like thinking, man, did my son turn up the heat in the house or something? And then I felt my head, and you know how even if you feel your head and you're hot, that's really not a good gauge, you know.
Yep.
It's also it just doesn't really do it. But I could tell. I put my hand on there, and even though it's not a good gauge, I was like, I could have cooked meat on it, dude. When I was done, 102.5.
Oh.
Well, hey, Jesper, if you could on the YouTube, would you change Rideshare Rodeo to Rideshare Rodeo?
I can try and see if I can, yeah.
I think Steve would appreciate that. And as long as if you can change things there, it's TNC Radio. That should be one word, no space there. Okay, guys, we're about 2 minutes out. Going live on the radio side. Rodney says, hi guys, Steve doesn't sound so good. No, Rodney, he's a bit under the weather today, but he bounces quickly.
Yeah, Rodney, I'm already doing better, bro. Thank you. It hit me Tuesday, and I think, Rodney, you were in that live chat when I was doing the thing with the Long Island Dash Experience. I think I saw you in there, and it hit me that night, like during that. And I told Lou and Mary after, I was like, dude, I feel like I got hit by a truck afterwards. And that's when I had the fever. I didn't sleep for 2 nights in a row, so it's been like really brutal. Now I'm just in body pain. I'm doing okay, but I'm just in body pain, like severe. Stupid mutant variants of colds and flus and rotas and whatever.
Traditional IC says, "Hey, all feel better, Steve."
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
I'm working on getting in there. 1 second.
All right, starting in less than 10. Oh, I lied. Starting in 30. And here we go in 3, 2, 1. Welcome in TNCRadio.live. It's a Friday night. That means we turn our attention to all things around the gig economy. This is Driver Nation. I'm Tom along with Jesper and Steve. We're going to be with you for the next couple of hours talking all sorts of things around the gig economy. Right up front, I'll tell you right now, it is 76 degrees with 85% humidity right here in Houston, Texas. I tell you that because as we speak, we're getting strong thunderstorms, and who knows? Might even lose power. I mean, it's really banging away out there, and I expect that over the course of the next 2 hours, we're going to see a little bit of a temperature drop. So remember, I started off at 76 degrees, 85% humidity. It'd be interesting to see what happens as the show goes on. Jesper, let's check in with you first, sir. How are you doing on this fine Friday evening?
Oh, I'm doing great. I actually just rested a little bit after my day job. I am planning on going out tonight and driving on a Friday night. Not sure anything special going on. I just I've been hitting the road more often now that I have this fancy new vehicle. So
All right.
So yeah. So that's what I'm going to be doing tonight, and it looks like it's going to be a very calm night. I was just checking the Uber app, and we already have surging, so that's a good sign for the night. So
yeah.
So that's me.
It's surging at 7 on a Friday. That's good. That's
I know.
good.
I saw an $11 surging, which nothing is what it was back when we had the multiplier, but
Good. And Steve, how are you doing this evening?
Awesome.
Steve joining us by phone line tonight, so he sounds a little bit different, a little under the weather, but he's making it through,
making it work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I even gave him the option, take the night off. No, it's not like that kind of sick. So okay, so good to have.
Yeah, we got work to do, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got some great people listening already. Hey, Rodney. Hey, Traditional IC. Rideshare Lisa checks in. Hey, Rideshare Lisa. How are you? We miss you on the line with us. So we're off to a good start. So that's good.
Hi, Lisa.
Yeah. So Lisa,
hi, Rodney.
Lisa, you need to call in at some point and join our little conversation here. Haven't heard your voice in a long time. So all is going well here. We've had election week this week, which is pretty boring considering that it's 3 days later and we know nothing more than we knew 3 days ago. We have spent across the country millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. And when it's all said and done, it's liable, impossible that absolutely nothing will change as far as who's sitting in which seats. So when we're all done, whatever. And I think you guys all know my political bent is throw them all out. I don't like any of them. So I'm just that way. I don't. When it comes to the politics of stuff, I'm on the side of the driver.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say is that, it matters right now because even just the House going to the Republicans, which very well should happen, knock wood, but, and I'm not claiming party affiliation here. I'm just saying that's important because we need things to get shut down because if not, all these things are going through that we've been talking about.
Sorry
I don't know what's going to happen in the Senate, but the House needs to go. The House needs to hit that 218. I'm with you, Tom. I'm like, why? I just looked it up on Politico. It's still like 194, 211 in the House. It's like, what are you guys doing, man?
Yeah, all this work and we don't know anything. I don't understand why it's so hard to count the votes. I'm sorry. I just don't. The country's significantly larger than it was a few years ago. But it seems like it's getting harder and harder to count the votes. And I'm not quite sure how that works.
A few years ago, they didn't really have the technology that we have today. Why don't we just rely on that? I mean,
that's what I'm saying. It just seems like we ought to. We've gotten smarter. We should be able to count them faster, not slower. And it's I don't know. We got a bunch of hanging chads or something.
Yeah. We got that runoff in Georgia.
Going to do a runoff in Georgia, so we won't know that. I understood, but we knew that by Wednesday morning. Here it is Friday night, and Arizona's like, a bunch of people they filled out their ballots for mail-in, and then like a couple 100,000 drove them over to the precinct and just handed them in. What? That doesn't even pass the smell test. What? What?
Of all places, Arizona should really have knocked out those counts quick. So after the last one, they need to watch it.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole thing's weird, but just give us some answers. That's I'm not saying anything about anything other than just tell us what's going on so we can plan accordingly.
I just want to get back to work. I mean, I'm sorry. I think the political just gets too distracting.
Yeah. Well, that was the entire section that I wanted to do about politics. So
there we
now
go. I like it.
That let's jump in and talk about some of the other stuff that's going on. I've made two bold predictions in 2022. One was that even though I was never particularly a fan, that the Philadelphia Eagles would have an outstanding year in football. And the other is that Lyft will just continue to crash and burn. And are they? Investors just dumping Lyft stock at this point. Can't get out of it fast enough. We're talking now about it selling around $22, $23. I mean, it's sick. It's bad. And on rumors that Uber's going to take more market. What? Uber already owns the market. I even heard recently. I was playing some cards with some friends, and one of them said, "I guess I'll take an Uber home," and the other guy said, "What kind of Uber?" And he said, "Lyft." Lyft is a kind of Uber.
Well, it's because Uber is a term at the same time type as
Right.
A Weber is a grill, right?
Yeah.
So
Kleenex. Yeah.
exactly. Yep.
And now Uber it's so much a thing that when you say Uber, you don't necessarily mean the company, you just mean rideshare.
Exactly. It's synonymous with rideshare. Yep. Absolutely.
So I asked Steve the question again, what are they even still doing here?
I don't know.
man. we've been talking about this for a long time. I mean, they've at this point the options they have had. I mean, look at they were working with Ford, they were working with Motional, Aptiv, and Ioniq 5 before Uber, and then Uber came in and started working with the same Motional Aptiv company in the same cities they're doing it in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's all. I feel like all there's. I feel like I don't. Obviously we don't know what the values would have been or what they could have gotten or sold for or merged. But Ford Motors, autonomous companies, these were their. I feel like that was their last chance way out. Now I feel like it's going.
Yeah. At this point, you can even convince Elon Musk to buy them.
Yeah, I think he's been doing his shopping enough of that lately. So
yeah, I said they were trading 22, 23. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. I meant 10 or 11. 10 or 11.
But
right.
I mean, Uber has been crashing too. I mean, they're all crashing right now.
Yeah, but not like Lyft. Yeah, yeah.
Lyft actually Uber is like staying steady. Everything's crashing, but Uber's staying steady because they're actually. I don't know if you guys. I mean, did we talk about this before? But Uber could have had a profit this quarter. They just had to pull it, but they did. They had it, which is weird. First time they've ever been able to they could have claimed a profit. They chose not to.
So yeah, just looking at a chart here real quick, you can. I'm not going to share it out because it's copyrighted, but the chart clearly shows that if you paste them dollar for dollar and work out the math there, Uber is actually moving. If you put them both at 100, let's say at the beginning of the year, okay, and then run the math out, Uber's actually almost right back to 100. They've been, pushing back up again. Where Lyft, on the other hand, using the same equations, would be pushing 60 at this point. So, it's compared to Uber, they've lost almost half the value of the stock price.
I think it's also important to remember, though, too, that that Uber's on the Dow and Lyft is on the Nasdaq. And I say that because I give a lot more credit to the Dow. I don't know. I feel like you can fail easier on the Nasdaq.
Well, yeah, we that's a conversation for another time, but I don't give it that much credit. You can get rich or get broke.
No, I'm saying now with this. No. I'm not saying it's because they're on there they're failing, but I'm saying because they're on there, it's going to be easier to fail. Just my take.
Okay. So,
speaking of Arizona, I got to tell you guys this. So I don't know if you saw this. Did you see this Waymo stuff?
No, I was going to ask you about that. Tell me.
Okay, so Waymo is the Engadget article is Waymo is one step closer to charging for self-driving taxis in California. But check this out. You know, Waymo bases in Arizona, right? They're in Silicon Valley, but all of their cars are in. I mean, they have a couple in San Francisco, but they primarily have them in Maricopa County, Phoenix, and they even have their own lanes leaving the airport. And if you're a Waymo investor, you can even get rides in these things. We've talked about them getting stuck, running lights, having issues. These are the driverless ones.
Right.
As of yesterday, they are available without drivers to everybody. You just download the app.
Yeah.
I mean,
but only certain cities, though, still, right?
Yes, there's gonna. What?
Only still only certain
Only
cities.
what? Yeah, but every autonomous vehicle in this country isn't autonomous because it has 1 to 2 drivers up front, right?
Sure. Yeah.
These don't have a driver up front. This is the first one without a driver.
Right.
This is the first live test without a driver. They're doing it in the Tempe area too, which is a college town, which just outside of that is in Maricopa County is the same place that the Uber autonomous killed the person.
Right.
I don't know. I just thought it was weird. From what I've read, they're pretty much admitting, things. I did a deeper dive, and to be honest, they're pretty much admitting nothing's changed. They still have problems. They're admitting it. There's still problems with the car. But Waymo is considerably nearer to offering fully driverless rides in California. Yes, but then so the update clears the way for Waymo 1 to charge passengers only service in San Francisco, much like it does in Phoenix. So in Phoenix, they're already doing it, and you have to pay for the rides. This isn't like Austin and Vegas, where there's a guy, 1 or 2 engineers up front, or a driver who can take control. There's nobody, and you have to pay for these. So who was I talking to? But I was saying that now we're going to see phase 2. Now we're going to see the disgusting raunchiness of these cars, because people are going to have sex in them, throw trash in them, do drugs in them. You name it.
Yeah.
Now we're going to see these things get trapped. And if you know the stories, we talked about this the other night, that if you know the stories, these are very true. People in Maricopa County hate Waymo, hate them. And wrong as it might be, wrong as it is, they do. This is still a thing. People do it all the time because they have specific lanes for the Waymos. They stand on overpasses and drop cinder blocks on them.
Ooh, well, that's not good. That's not good.
That's been going on for 3 years.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
All right. Hey, we're going to take a break.
Well, because
we're going to take a break on the radio side, Steve, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. I started the program saying that it was 76 degrees here at the TNCRadio.live studios in the shadow of the Johnson Space Center just outside of Houston, Texas. It is now, some 20 minutes later, 61 degrees. How about that? Drop 15 degrees in 21 minutes. That's kind of cool. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. You're listening to TNCRadio.live. Stay right there.
That is a drastic drop.
Yeah. I'll be back in just a minute, guys.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm sure it's cold there too, Jesper. It's not freezing here, but it's not warm here either. So I don't have a lot of fun when he says it dropped to 61.
We should. Right now it's 36 degrees outside, so the fact that it's getting colder is also going to make me have a bit on night. So that's good, because people don't want to walk in the cold. So I'm gonna hit the road when I'm done with the show. So out there, and
Are you getting upfront pricing yet?
oh yeah, we've had that for a while. Well, a month or so.
On both?
Huh?
On both, Lyft, Uber?
Well, so I'm not on Lyft yet. I was on Lyft 4 years ago. And then my lead foot got me kicked off.
Back on?
Huh?
You're not going to go back on?
I want to, but they won't let me.
Oh.
They haven't so far. They haven't let me.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, maybe I remember that. Like, what did you do? You didn't do anything, but somebody accused you of something, or
No, I got a speeding ticket. But the speeding ticket got written up as reckless driving, even though it wasn't.
right?
And unfortunately, because they wrote it up as reckless, and I should have fought it at the time, I just never did. But because of that, Lyft kicked me off. Uber didn't care.
Right.
But
Right.
right now, I'm fighting to get back on. The other day, I got back on my Lyft app, and this was back when I just got my new car, and I was trying to add it back on and stuff. And so, normally on my Lyft app, it would say right away when I logged in, it would have said, something wrong with your account. You can't go online, all that stuff. And so I just ignored it. This time, it didn't say that. So I was like, okay, maybe they actually got a version of my driver's record that was fine again. So I put everything in. I did the 20 minutes worth of training and everything like that you're supposed to be, as a new driver. And then everything was accepted. I got my vehicle accepted back on and everything. But I tried to go live, and it still said you are not approved to drive. So what? You make me do all that work and still can't do it. So yeah,
Great.
yeah, I know.
Well,
But again, huh? What were you saying?
I just think it's weird that they said that, because that almost implies that you could get back on, that there's a law.
Well, they didn't say that's why they kicked me off. They just kicked me. I mean, it was because of all of a sudden that speeding ticket was on my record. So that was the only reason why. But
All right, guys.
Right. Yeah.
it's been 4 years now. It must be long gone.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but yeah, really, it's not like there's a statute of limitations where they pull it and you're okay again. Really, let's just, when they kick you off, they kick you off.
Yeah. But they could put me back on. They're seeking drivers like left and right. Why wouldn't they want an old driver? I have 1,500 rides on the Lyft platform. Why wouldn't they want me back?
Here's, so.
All right, guys, coming back here on the radio set. Give me just a sec here. Bring us back in 3, 2, 1. Alrighty, welcome back. TNCRadio.live, Friday night. That means it's time for Driver Nation. We turn our attention here at TNC Radio to all things in the gig economy. And it's been a pretty good week for being out there driving. Jesper, who's with us, and Steve, who's with us. Jesper, you've been out driving this week and making some coin. How's it been going for you?
Well, so yes, it's been great. So I'm a weekend driver, and last weekend I drove like a ton. I just wanted to see what how much could I make if I drove 20 hours, and I was averaging about $38 an hour. I drove 19. I drove 19 hours, and I made $836. So, can't beat that too much.
Yeah, that's good.
So yeah, no, it was. I mean, I was tired afterwards. Of course, I drove 7 hours Friday, 12 hours Saturday, and I just like a little bit on Sunday to finish up. But that was because I was trying to get one of the quest bonuses.
Okay.
So it was, if you did the 50 rides, then you get my bonus at the time was $130 extra. So I got 50 rides over the course of a weekend. I got 130 extra, and that made it. I think it was just roughly $830. So
wow.
So and at that level, I don't really think I can complain about it.
Well, you could always complain about it. It's just whether or not anybody cares. That's
absolutely. Well, and then it's also whether or not I feel like it's worth my time. And at that level, I guess I do think it's worth my time. So
yeah. Well, cool. That's not bad at all. Steve, since you've been under the weather this week, probably haven't done as much driving this week as you have recently, because I know you've been doing a lot of things with your folks up there. But Steve, tell me about this. Colorado gig drivers make an average of $5.49 an hour, according to a study that the government put out.
Yeah, so it's, we saw I think we saw one of those for California too. It said like $6.79, and they have Prop 22, and they were still saying that. If you read, you definitely get the, especially by the end, you're fully seeing that it's a union push. To which I say, I was asking Jesper during the break, is he seeing upfront pricing? Because it's supposed to be in all markets by the end of the year. But some have been for a while, some still haven't gone. 25 went last Tuesday, so they really are populating them. But if people are saying I only make $5.49 an hour, they're saying that based on the expense, wear and tear on the car. So they're using these, and you should be doing things like that, but they're using these astronomical numbers. Obviously, the Flex Association companies like Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, all those companies are fighting it and saying that's BS. Dude. Yes, there's expenses, but we saw this played out in New York. It didn't work. When you make floor, it becomes a ceiling. This doesn't work. And so now they're saying that that's the case here too, which just leads me to believe that here in Colorado, we have that AB5 language, or that AB5 language in our constitution too, as most states do. I think it's 38. I think it's 38 states have it. So if they dig into the state's constitution, they will find a almost word for word AB5 verbiage that they can just say, hey, we're going to enforce this now, because that's the deal, is it's already in there. It's just not been optimized. But, they better not do it here, because here's the thing. With upfront pricing, if you're making that much, that's on you. We talked about this before. If you're seeing all the details, they're being 100% transparent, don't work for them if you're only making $5 an hour.
Right.
Period. I mean, I don't care, go do anything else. Literally. I don't even know what to tell you. Go become a barista at Starbucks for $17 an hour. I don't know what to tell you, because if you're making $5 doing gig work, I hate to say this, but you're doing it wrong. And even if you're just starting, I have no pity, because you're doing it wrong.
And let's also go back to, in being a stats guy, I always am looking at how did they do this study. First of all, look at who did the study. Okay, so if I was doing a study on why Kelly is the best last name to have, you would probably want to raise your eyebrows a little bit and say, yeah, but you are a Kelly. When you have a report come out like this from a group called the Colorado Jobs with Justice.
Well, but not only that, the research from workers' rights group Colorado Jobs with Justice came from the union Colorado Independent Drivers United.
Well, that's my point.
So Colorado Independent Drivers United surveyed hundreds of workers in Denver, and then they reported it to Colorado Jobs with Justice, because Colorado Jobs with Justice isn't a union. It's supposed to pull the wool over some people's eyes and make you think, oh, cool, it's not a union. It's a group, but really that group is getting ready to raise the Colorado Independent Drivers United flag and be a union. So it's like they're using this sketchy background way of proving this. And I don't think they've proved it. First of all, hundreds of drivers. My thought is, you guys are here's the only thing I can come up with. I mean, I read their math and stuff, but when they start, here's the thing, guys. If you read articles that start saying as gas prices soar and this, all this is bad. It all affects us. But when you start seeing that in articles like this, and you start seeing how they're breaking down numbers, you can instantly say, okay, this is just junk study, because, you know, I mean, they're going to, so at 549 that they're saying, the only thing I can think of is that they are talking to people in the staging lot at DIA Airport, who sometimes are there for 3 hours and get one ride.
Right.
And to which I say, you, again, no offense, you guys, but get out of the staging lot.
Well,
if you take a ride to the airport and you don't get a reroute, bounce.
Right. But you know, we also know that there are a lot of people at the staging lot are there to have a smoke and hang out with their dudes.
Well, that's what, dude, at our staging lot, I've told you before, people live there.
Yeah.
So if they're like, how much are you making an hour? That person could be like, well, I only worked 3 hours in the last 2 days. I live here.
Right.
Okay, so you've worked 3 hours and 48 hours. No. That doesn't calculate for me. If you live in the staging lot, you should not be in this survey.
Yeah, I hate poorly done studies. I really do. And this one, quite frankly, is just...
It's not even poorly done, though, Tom. It's junk to begin with.
It's like, not a study.
But I think
it's exactly what California did when Vina Dupal was getting all those signatures. They were her and Lorena Gonzalez were going to the staging lots because they knew that's where the drivers were sitting and waiting hours at LAX and San Francisco. And they're like, oh, let's talk to them. And a lot of them are immigrants. And they don't like being like downtown, having to go pick up people if they struggle with the language or whatever. So they just do airport runs and they just live with that. And so they'll go sit in that airport lot and, like you said, smoke. Like I've told you before about ours. Ours holds 600 cars now. So for Uber and Lyft only. So that's the only thing that's allowed in the staging lot. But I've told you it looks like a prison yard time. You see groups of Samoans walking around together.
Oh, yeah. No,
the other, I mean, they're all in groups too. It looks like jail. It looks like jail yard time.
Yep. Then we have fights break out and the whole bit.
So,
I want to go back to changing subjects for just a second. I want to go back to this Waymo discussion. Are they selling this as quote unquote rideshare?
Well, what else would they be selling it as?
Well, because it's not rideshare.
I guess.
Not rideshare at all.
No.
Okay, I mean the whole concept of rideshare, that is not what this is. I don't know what this is, but it's not rideshare.
Yeah.
You can't call it rideshare and say you're competing with Uber and Lyft. You're not doing rideshare. You're doing a completely different thing. Again.
But on the same token though, Tom, isn't this what's gonna kill rideshare though?
No, because dude, first of all, there's so many factors that I love how they just leave everything out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Gary and I were talking about this. Like, okay, let's talk about the cost of the car. The LiDAR doesn't work in weather. The cost of these cars, these autonomous Waymos, is about $200,000 plus each. They're going to get completely trashed. There's problems, so they're already faulty and not working. I don't know. It's, you know, to me, it seems like we're waiting for another person to get killed, and then they'll get pulled off the street again.
There are a lot of people who will never get in one of these things, Jesper, in answer to your question.
And that's true. That is true.
Because of the automation. But the other reason to not get in it isn't the lack of isn't the automation part. It's the lack of the person that you're going to interface with.
Correct.
Okay. We all know, because we've all driven, that there are people who get in our cars that, quite frankly, I'm pretty sure I'm the only person they've had a conversation with in the last 3 days.
Correct.
They are hungry for human interaction. And if you take out the driver and say that, you know, no human interaction here, you're taking away, again, that's part of what ride share was all about. And if you take that out, Now, you're never going to get rid of brick and mortar stores, and you're never going to get rid of rideshare because people like to interact with other people.
But that being at the same token, though, Tom, it's going to continue to decrease. I mean, you're right. We're not going to get rid of brick and mortar stores, but we're going to continue to see a decrease in them and an increase of the convenience of online stores. I'm convinced of this.
But I don't see anything about Waymo that makes it more convenient.
But it's because right now Waymo is so much in its early stages. I am fully convinced that in maybe 15 years, we're going to have driverless cars in every city in America.
15 years? Yeah. Okay. Maybe 15 years.
Wait. Full driverless cars that
absolutely
will come to anywhere you want, pick you up, take you to anywhere you want.
Well, there might be some rural areas where they can't go yet. I couldn't, but the technology is going. It's going to continue to increase.
Being is that they're already starting to develop lanes for these cars and stuff. So, I mean, we face the same thing as California and their junk EV plan that is blowing up in their face right now, which I love. But we're facing that same problem of there's no infrastructure.
Right.
It's like it's like some of the things I've talked about before, insurance and stuff. Who's going to cover this? Because if I'm driving on the road and an autonomous hits me, my insurance company right now doesn't know how to deal with that.
Correct. But they're going to figure it out.
So trying to keep them in their own line. Well, they're not going to build them their own lanes and stuff until these things don't work. They don't work.
Well, they may not work today, Steve. But the problem is they will work. You can't just say this technology is never going to happen. It will happen.
Of course it will. I'm just saying I don't think we're going to see you call a driverless car and it comes anywhere you want and can take you anywhere you want in 15 years.
No, and yeah, I think there will continue to be.
It might be like maybe it'll be to like points. Like you can go to the train station from the airport, or you can go to, and then I'm just using Denver as the example. So the train station puts you downtown, and then you're up near 17th Street. You can take the bus to any of the hotels downtown.
Well,
so
the network infrastructure.
I don't think it's going to be able to take you everywhere.
The network infrastructure is going to have to get resolved, and I don't see that happening anytime soon either. Imagine if all three of us were on a different type of internet.
What do you mean?
Right.
You're on an internet. We'll call yours the original internet. I'm on the new internet, and Steve's on the new internet, and the three don't talk to each other.
Sure. Yes.
Okay. Now we can all say we're on the net, and we can all do stuff, but we can no longer talk to each other. Okay, so Waymo has an exclusive right now, but the next guy who comes out there may not speak the same language.
Sure. Correct.
Okay? Now we've got a problem.
Absolutely.
And that's going to continue. There is no standardization here, and I'm still saying that because these things don't have an ethical subroutine like Commander Data on Star Trek, the first time that they make the wrong decision, the same way that the driver made the wrong decision in Colorado and killed a bunch of people because he was a poor truck driver and made a bad decision. As soon as that happens with autonomous vehicles, it's going to set the whole thing back a long ways. And that's just a matter of time.
And that might be true. But autonomous vehicles, I think we're going to continue to see it coming in, and we've talked about it for 5 years, maybe even more. Right?
We've been talking about it since the 40s.
Well, yeah, but not realistically since after 2010.
Yes, but full level 5 autonomy isn't even close. Like, here's an example: is that Argo AI? I've told you that Uber's autonomous is junk. They're not even in the top 100 companies in the world.
Right.
But Argo is in the top 10. Argo is shutting down today. they are shutting down. Ford Motors is no longer going to be a partnership with them. They're going to be canceling level 2 plus and 3. And they're going to be working more on assisted autonomous.
There you go.
Things
And
that help you not run off the road.
Yes.
And things like that. They're now backing off and saying, we're not there. And here's a quote from Ford. Let me see if I can find it now. So here's a quote from Ford saying, I just lost it. So it basically
okay.
Okay, what?
I was going to say. Well, so
I was going to say it's basically saying that Ford is saying that basically they're extremely disappointed in their partnership with Argo, and their engineers have determined that all of what they were buying into has been just BS. They know it now, and they're like, we're out. This is not even close. And so Ford says here that, you know, it's decades out.
Yes. And you know,
and I gotta trust Ford a little bit, you know, because they're a smart company that's making a decision on this. Like you said, Jesper, in a world where at some point we will have autonomous. Ford was involved with 2 companies. They've now dumped both. They're getting all the top engineers out. They're dumping all the junk, and they're going to start focusing. It's kind of like how we were talking about electric vehicles in California, just skipping the hybrid model altogether. You know, like, work on the hybrid. That actually works. Let's do that for a while. You know, like, why does everything have to be jumped? And I think that I think all these companies get scammed a little bit, you know, when they go into business with these, until they really can get into the books and have their engineers work with their engineers and say, well, you guys aren't where we thought you were.
Well, you know, this is why they put the guy in jail last week, you know, because he was lying about the truth around the autonomy. What I really believe we're going to see before, and in ways that we can't even imagine right now, before we see level 5 or even really good level 4 autonomous vehicles, you're going to see assisted reality driving. You're going to see things that help us in ways that we can't even begin to imagine right now, make us better drivers, make us safer drivers, give us more information about the world around us, both commercially and just things that we want to know. And I think we have a whole world there that we haven't even begun to explore. That's going to be really exciting and a lot of fun, and will change our way of life in much the same way that cell phones changed our way of life. That's the kind of stuff I'm looking forward to see in the near future. We're way overdue for a break on the radio side. We're going to go ahead and do that right now. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. You're listening to TNCRadio.live. Stay tuned.
I have to step away for a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
So here's I just found it. Here's the part I wanted to read. So Argo AI had been testing its tech on public roads in the U.S. and Germany. In May, it commenced driverless operations in Austin and Miami without a safety driver at the wheel. That was pulled a few weeks later, and they put the driver back in. Lyft was amongst the companies that was using them. Just last month, Argo AI announced a number of tools and services designed to support autonomous delivery and robot taxi operations. Creating a robust and safe self-driving system is not exactly an easy challenge. Full level 5 autonomy is still several decades away from becoming truly viable for the mass markets. To that end, Ford said in its earnings report, the auto industry's large-scale profitable commercialization of level 4 advanced driver assistance systems level 4 advanced driver assistance systems will be further out than originally anticipated, and that's level 4.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
But go ahead and look at how quickly things actually moved with, you brought up cell phones, Tom. look at how quickly everything started moving with the cell phones the moment they announced the first iPhone. I mean, ever since then, it has been crazy fast. So
right, but we have
No,
200.
you're
we have
some,
200 plus autonomous
no, wait,
companies in this world.
Let me reply to that point.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. But ever since they talked about the first flying cars, we're no closer to flying cars than we were before. Just because what I'm talking about, the changes that are going to be made are not about autonomous vehicles. It's going to be about taking the drivers that are there right now, which, by the way, a whole lot of people like driving.
oh, sure.
Okay. They're not going to let go of the wheel. And that's where I think we have the potential for some great growth in the way we operate as people and the way we take the cars. Just because they have experimented a little bit with autonomous vehicles and they haven't worked doesn't mean that is the future.
And you are correct. Obviously, we need a. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, I was gonna say, yes, but I'm there with you, man. Autonomous will get here. It's just I get worked up because I'm so sick of the lies. Like Tom was saying about the flying cars, like this. It was one thing when they weren't public, like Uber and stuff, because flying cars. Well, you know what flying cars turned into? Flying cars turned into VTOLs, vertical takeoff and landing. Those never happened. You know what it actually turned into? One location that was a helicopter.
So there's two at this point. There's two manufacturers of flying cars in America, but it's becomes the rich man's toy, right? And neither of those two will become common own because they're too expensive and they still require you to hold a what do they call it? Like a hobby pilot license or whatever.
Right.
I was going to say, dude, on top of that, there's not a chance that these states are going to allow people to just be flying around.
Oh, no. I mean, that's the thing. You have to follow the aviation laws. So,
right, but like everybody that wants an autonomous car is going to need to become a pilot. That's pretty much what it is.
Okay, here we go. Coming back in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back in TNCRadio.live. Got about 7 minutes before we get to the top of the hour. So we're having a rather spirited discussion, both on and off the air, about the future of autonomous vehicles. And
I mean, can I jump right into it, Tom?
Sure.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I thought you brought up two good points that I think I would like to spend just a few more minutes talking about, because always up till now we just talked about technology. I think you had two good points. One was cultural, right, and the other one is the psychological aspect of driverless cars. You said yourself, too many people likes to drive. They don't want to give up the wheel, right? So that's one point, and then there's the whole cultural aspect. Is it even ever gonna be accepted by the common media? I mean, that's the other side of it, is the fact that they make the technology. Yeah, it's possible, but then is it gonna be widely used, and how quickly is it gonna be widely used by the people, I guess?
And that's what I'm saying. I don't see that happening on the psychological or cultural way. And we also have to remember too that the United States is, while very dependent on automobiles, nothing close to countries like India and China. And have you ever driven in a third world country?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Well, like in India, you can't imagine what it's like if you haven't been there, where You come to a traffic light, people are not lined up in lanes.
No.
Okay, it's just a group of cars and bicycles and motorcycles and little taxis. It's just a group of them and when the light turns green, they all just honk and kind of push each other through, and literally tens of thousands of them die all the time, and it's just that's the way there's no chance that you're going to have autonomous and people who are not in autonomous vehicles side by side in a position like that and have it work.
So
it will work.
I happened many years ago. I was in Turkey, and the same situation, right? We were. It's fun because in intersections in some of those third world countries, they're more like just guidelines.
Well, the lights indicate where the accident will come from.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all that it's. So if it's a green light, you're probably going to get hit from the side, and if it's a red light, you're going to get hit from behind. That's and I'm not totally joking. I mean, that's the way it is, and it's. So when you say we're going to do this, we're going to be like the world is not going to have Teslas everywhere starting next week. It's going to be a worldwide phenomenon. Even if it does start happening in certain areas of America, this is not going to be the commonplace thing, because you're never going to have enough of sales of those types of cars that will bring the price down to make it reasonable so that people want to get them. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, the market for self-driving Tesla kinds of cars is much lower than what I think people realize that it is, compared to those who are going to continue to drive their own car, or I'm going to say car, and allow me to. Car can mean a 3-wheeled vehicle. It can mean a small 4-wheeled vehicle. But a 4-wheeler of some kind it's much smaller than what I think people realize, because if you build a Ford, give me a Ford car that they still do, the Ford Tempo. Is that still a car?
Ford Escort.
Ford Escort. Okay, Ford Escorts are sold in every country in the world.
Absolutely.
Okay, every country in the world. Sometimes not under the name Ford, but they're still sold in every country in the world. You're not going to sell Teslas in every country in the world. Okay, the market for a Ford Escort. Now we can talk about, whether or not you're using, what kind of fuel you're using to operate the car. That's a different conversation. But as far as autonomy and those kinds of things, we're never going to have the large scale. And that's what makes a Ford Escort affordable, is because they're sold in every country in the world. They're assembled in most every country in the world.
Right.
You're not going to have that kind of marketplace for autonomous vehicles in every country in the world, because even if you decide, okay, well, we want to get this stuff going in India, you have to rebuild the culture in India to get it going. And you're going to have to do that somewhat in the States, but you're going to have to completely redo it in a place like India.
Correct.
Okay, well, so that it's going to make it cost prohibitive for an extended period of time. And that's what you were getting to earlier, Steve, was that these Waymo vehicles cost hundreds of thousands of dollars each.
And don't work.
And
that's what I'm not.
Even if they did work,
they don't work.
Yeah, but even if
they don't work.
Yeah,
that's a big problem. They don't work. And I know that eventually they will, but you shouldn't put out a product that doesn't work, where people have already died, that they know, well, the LiDAR works at 68%. Okay, well, that's a D plus. That's not near good enough for me to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be on the road with a D plus autonomous car.
Well, yeah. If they said it only worked 90% of the time, that's not good enough.
No, I mean, my point is they're live testing things that don't work.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Right. And
and by the way, if you look, we're not seeing it come everywhere. Miami's now kind of giving them the boot. Austin, Vegas, San Francisco, and Phoenix. Those are the only 4 cities you're seeing them in.
Yeah.
For whatever reason,
it'll be interesting to see how
those
long
cities have deals with these companies.
Yeah. We're at the top of the hour. We're going to drop out on the radio side, check in with the news, all that kind of good stuff. We'll be back in just a few minutes. You're listening to TNCRadio.live, Driver Nation, Friday night. Stay right there. Okay, guys, out on the radio side.
For a little bit anyways. It sounds like you're feeling a little bit better there, Steve. Or maybe it's just that you got heated.
Well, no, dude. Because I was when I was laying down, it was that's my voice was getting real raspy, so I sat up and I just am leaning forward, even though it's a little painful, but it's okay. I need to move around anyway. Nothing's comfortable right now.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what I'm doing. But yeah, dude. I mean, honestly, my throat. You know how it is, dude. It just keeps coming and going, bouncing around. Like I start feeling better, and then I get a spike and a fever, and everything starts hurting in certain areas, and then I don't know. I took probably yesterday. I took like 4 hot showers, and stood in there. Just literally stood there, didn't even move.
Well, I'm sorry about that.
It took me for like 20 minutes.
Yeah. So, well, I think we should probably try to leave the driverless discussion alone next time. We've kind of discussed that one enough, maybe.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't know.
I mean, you mean today? Yeah. I try and not talk about it too much. I mean, because I already do on our platform to talk about it. But this was a big update that Waymo's driving around people. And I also found it interesting that they're doing it in Tempe because, Tom, you probably know, Jesper, I don't know if you know, but Tempe is the college town for Phoenix. It's Arizona State or...
Oh, okay.
Arizona.
Yeah, University of Arizona or Arizona State. One's in Tucson, one's in Phoenix. It's one of them. It's the bigger one. And the Sun Devils is what it is. And Tempe. And I have a feeling that the autonomouses are running up there because they're wondering. I think part of this test is to see if drunk people are getting home better.
But see that you bring up a good point there, right? I mean, this is one thing that I wish I would have, and I need to just do some more research about it. But so one of the big reasons why I started driving a long time ago is because I wanted to be a way for people to get home safe and not do a DUI. But I still have never seen any specific data from Uber on any towns that their service is helping decreasing the amount of DUIs. Yet I can only think that they are.
No, the data is starting to come in now. I mean, it's always going to be a couple of years behind, and I think they're starting to get pretty good data going back to 2017, 2018, and into 2019. The problem is, then we hit the COVID time, which skews the data some, so we don't really know. But I think that we're starting to see, especially in the larger cities like Houston, New York, Chicago, that there is a marked drop off in drunk driving convictions and arrests. Interestingly enough, though, not a drop off in the number of deaths. And so they're trying to figure out why that is that, but we don't have enough data,
right,
to say what that means yet. So after a couple of years, okay, you're getting less drunks out there, but the ones that are out there are worse than ever.
They're killing more people.
If you think about it, might make sense.
Right.
Okay, so the people who are stupid enough to go and drive now, those are just the lowest of society.
Right.
Yeah, and they're the one. Yeah, they're the ones who are never gonna take advantage of a service such as Uber.
Right.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. So there's a couple other. I think I have. I know I have I know I got one. My head's a little fuzzy, guys, but I know I got one story that I don't have listed anywhere. I don't know if you guys have seen it. We'll wait till we come back on. It's a messed up story. And then the wing drones are pretty interesting. That's an interesting story.
Okay, let me bring us back in on the radio side. 3, 2, 1. All right, welcome back in TNCRadio.live. Friday night. Yay! Tom, I'm here with Steve and Jesper, talking about all things regarding rideshare and the gig economy. Really appreciate y'all being on here with us this evening. Good to have you. We were talking a little bit off air about what kind of impact that we believe, or that we hope for at least, that rideshare's had on DUIs and arrest and that kind of stuff. We do have, let's see, I'm pulling this up right now for you, Jesper. When did the study come out? June of this year. There's a new study confirming what many people have suspected, that rideshares like Uber and Lyft are reducing instances of drinking and driving. A University of Texas health study has found that traffic-related trauma cases and DUI convictions are significantly down thanks to rideshare, especially, and this again, I don't think this is a surprise. It makes sense, especially with people 30 and younger.
Right.
30 and younger. And I cannot tell you how many times, and we've all, every driver I've talked to has reported the same thing. It's Friday night, and you got a couple in the back seat, and you're taking them to Timeout 2, the bar down the street. And the guy says, yeah, we decided we want to take Uber because I don't know whether I want to have 1 beer or 6. I haven't decided. And I don't want to have to worry about it while I'm sitting there. And I certainly don't want to drive home and get arrested on the way home and ruin my life, or worse yet, hit somebody. And we've all had that discussion with our writers. So it's very easy to believe, and I think the data will continue to come in, that continues to show us that there's a steady drop off. Orange, let's see, which Orange County is this? We'll say it's Orange County, California. Yeah, Orange County, California, or is this Orange in Texas? I don't have. Oh, sorry, none of the above. This is Orange County in Florida. Number of DUI cases processed by the Orange County Sheriff's Office since 2015. In 2015, 2,599 cases. The next year, 1960. The next year, 1814. The next year, 1611. Next year, 1519. And the next year, 1284. It's cut almost
in half
in the last few years.
So I've had many. I mean, obviously, we all know this. We all. I mean, most of my riders, after midnight, is college students. So we, Grand Rapids is a fairly big college town, and quite often do I hear thank you so much for helping us get home, because it was impossible to get a cab in the olden, before. That was the problem they had, is
Olden
they
days.
would
Say it.
have
The olden days.
the olden days, yeah.
I just wanted you to say the olden days.
Well, yeah, but it was like, they would have to wait 2 and 3 hours at some points before they can get a cab, right? And so it wasn't.
Don't even get me started. Jesper, when I ran the bar, I could call for a cab, and they'd say it's going to be about an hour. They didn't even ever plan on sending one.
Right.
What I'm trying to get
They're
at, though,
like-
what I'm trying to get at, though, Steve, is there's no wonder that they tried to get home with their car in a DUI, because how else are they going to get home?
Right.
Right. And so what this is doing now is providing a real solution to that problem.
Yeah.
And it's very encouraging to see those datas.
Yeah,
So-
it is. And I think we're going to continue to see that as one of the big pluses that's come out of rideshare. And one of the, we were talking about the way rideshare and cell phones, how much culture has been changed by these things. And our culture has been changed by the gig economy.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. It started with the rideshare, but we see this all the time. Jason and I, we talk to new, we talked to a new exciting startup gig here in Grand Rapids. So it's called Sipsy, and so now you can even pay somebody to come and take care of your cans. Right? You can pay a gig worker to do that if you don't want to deal with it yourself. And so everywhere in your day, you can use gigs to help you out in your everyday life. And I think that's exciting. I think you are correct, Tom. It definitely changed. It's changing how the entire workforce is.
Right. Yep.
Which obviously is bringing problems as well.
Yeah. I got to ask you guys about this. Have you guys seen the article about the Lyft North Carolina situation?
No, I don't know about that.
Nope.
Okay, so a Lyft driver, and I'm going to save the worst part till the end.
Okay,
The
good.
whole thing is bad. Okay, good. So a Lyft driver picks up a passenger. It's a girl. She's getting a little freaked out because he's smoking. He's talking to her. She's getting weirded out. She says she doesn't like the smoke. So he puts the smoke out. He pulls out a bottle of either Ozium or something like it, and if you're familiar, I know you guys are, but if you're familiar with Ozium, when you spray it, it's one of those things that you definitely want to get out of the car when you do it, right?
Right.
So because the way it comes out and then it kind of like implodes, and it just is very heavy and weird. But so he put the cigarette out, he sprayed some Ozium, and the girl freaked out of the moving car. Now, here's the thing. The girl was 17.
Oh.
His life is wrecked. This is one of the examples. His life is wrecked. He will for a $8 ride, never, ever be able to make money again. He will be paying his family off. He will be, I don't know. I just find it crazy, And I still talk to people all the time who don't know that you can't take minors. Don't get it.
Right.
Well, I think, and so I agree with you 100%. But the problem is, one of the problems is, why was she able to get an account in the first place?
Well, most of them use their parents' account.
Right.
I understand that,
Good
but
night.
why were they able to? Why? That's a technology problem. That's a problem with the platform. We went through it last. Huh?
It's that the parent has an account and they allowed it to go onto the kid's phone. I used to deal with this all the time.
No, and I don't disagree
Like
I don't disagree with you, Steve, at all. But the problem is still a technology problem. You can solve that with technology.
How?
well, make it so that, I mean, for instance, you can tie the user to the phone much more. You can have it so that the rider has to recognize their face, before the rides to start. Like, I mean, there's ways around that, Tom, to make sure that the owner of the account is in fact the person sitting in the car. Just like you.
Look,
What?
No, yeah, it doesn't fix.
Both platforms to call a car for somebody else, though.
Right. It doesn't fix.
So that's out the window. It's up to the driver needs to card the person.
That's the thing. At the end of the day, technology doesn't fix the problem, which is the driver let her get in the car.
And I understand that. I understand.
Walgreens, and you can buy a preloaded card, and you can set up an Uber account and be 12.
I'm not saying that this because the platforms are the way they should be today. I'm saying they could improve the platform so we know for a fact that the person getting in the car is the owner of the account. That is possible.
How would you do that?
Just like they have the account, Tom, so they know that it's us driving the car. They have to see our license. They have to do a background check on us. They make me take a photo of me every time I get in the car. I go online. They want to make sure it's me actually driving the car.
But you could fake that.
But at least it's harder. They don't do any of that on the rider platform, I guess is what I'm saying. They don't do background check. They don't verify, ID.
True.
They don't do any of that.
True.
So, I mean, at least last week I read an article that now at least they are getting rid of fake names on the Uber platform. Good.
But I guess my point is at the end of the day, the driver let her get in the car.
And that is correct.
Okay. And that's the part.
Yep. And he's an independent contractor. That's his business. He decided to not card her. Dude, I can't tell you how many people I've said, hey, F off.
And that's the part that technology doesn't fix. If you're going to let them in the car, you can take technology to all sorts of levels. And if you let them in the car, it's still on you as the driver. Don't let minors get in the car by themselves, period.
And I agree 100% with that. The problem is, though, and I'm not trying to negate what you guys are saying, but it can be hard to tell.
Okay. And I agree.
Well, then, when in doubt, golden rule, when in doubt, cancel.
Yep.
If you're not sure that it's a real, I've done a lot of years in the bar, so I feel confident in my skills. But when in doubt, cancel. Because you know what? Now acceptance rating doesn't matter anywhere in this country. So you know what? Cancel. Because if you're in doubt, that's probably your instincts letting you know something's wrong.
And that is true. That is true. But so let's talk about
if they can't present an ID or.
I'm not negating at all that.
I'll give you one example that's pretty funny, man. That actually, I just spent so many years carding people at the door, bartending, all that kind of stuff. So I had somebody who, and I'm sure this happens a lot, who had their older sister's ID. And they looked a lot like them. Right. And I took the ID, and I just started asking weird questions. I was like, what's the middle two of your social? And they were like, I have no idea. It's like, yeah, okay. Like, don't say, what's your name? Because obviously they got that down. What's your birthday? It's their sister. They know that. But ask something weird. Because there's some information on there, driver's license number. Most people don't know theirs, but like social, I don't know what's on each state. In Colorado, social's on your license.
Oh, it's not in Michigan.
So, well, but there's got to be some kind of defining thing, or you can, get like learn if the astronomical side, or are you an Aries or are you Taurus, any of that. Like say, oh, okay, so yeah, I see. So I see your birthday. Don't ask them the birthday. Ask them what their sign is.
Right.
Guarantee they'll mess it up.
So we had a comment saying that it's also up to the parent not to share their account with a minor in some of these cases, and that is absolutely true. This is also a case of a complete and utter just disrespect to the system for the parents.
Right.
Oh my God, Jesper! I can't tell you the amount of times I've had a kid at a high school tell me, "No, this is my parents' account," and I'll call. I'm like, "Well, I'm going to call the account." Parent answers, and I'm like, "Yeah, I can't take your kid's trying to get a ride, and I can't take them." And they're like, "No, you can. I gave them my app. Why can't you take them?"
Exactly.
Because it's against the terms of service, and I'm not risking my life, you dumbass.
And it's
like
just plain wrong.
Right, but I mean, like they will literally fight with me.
Sure.
Oh, sure. I've seen that.
I have had people. I had one lady need to take her 2 kids to elementary school. Came out in her pajamas.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen that.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like, can you take these kids to elementary school? Can I take them to Mexico and sell them? Yep.
Yeah.
So we had that happen in this market, and they said, I can take him if you get in the car too, ma'am. And so she did, and he ended up taking her back home afterwards. Then it was fine. But I would never take them alone.
If they're accompanied, sure. But when they're just like, they come out with their coffee in hand and they're like, yeah, they're just going to the elementary school. It's like, wow, man, like,
right.
Canceling the ride. I'm calling social services, you moron.
Well, actually, I wish we did more of that. Seriously. But then, then again, I have other things to do with my time than try to police every idiot parent that's out there.
Isn't it interesting though that we all have to? I'm sorry, Steve, go ahead.
I was saying that, to the people who do that, like, and who are sending their kids like that, like, don't tell me you don't know better.
Of course.
And if you don't, you really do need some help as a parent.
Yeah.
Because if you think it's okay to call an $8 ride, a rideshare driver that you've never seen before, and put your 2 kids in it who are 7 and 8, you are a moron.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. One of our listeners on YouTube just pointed out too, these are the same kinds of people who get in their cars with small children without the proper car seats.
Yep.
Rideshare Lisa's pointing out that, it's, if she feels like the ride might go wrong, she just cancels. And we should all do that more often than not, because as you were saying earlier, Steve, when your gut starts saying, this is wrong, I shouldn't do this, I don't know, those are warning signals that you have for a reason. And too often we're chasing the buck and we get, I just need one more ride and then I'm going home. We have this little excuse in us that gives us permission to go against that voice that's telling us, no, I don't think you should do this. We give ourselves permission to do it, and we do it. And the truth of it is 95, 99% of the time, it turns out okay.
It's all fine. Yep.
It turns out okay. But the thing is,
but look at this incident.
Exactly. So as you're pointing out, Steve,
this guy's life is wrecked.
Yep.
His whole life is wrecked. I've talked about this before.
And they,
you'll be paying this off the rest of your life.
And the 17-year-old might actually be telling the truth, but this guy's getting absolutely there's no trial. He is convicted.
Right, but she jumped out of a car doing 33 miles an hour.
Right. And her story is
because he sprayed Ozium, and as she said, she got very hurt, but she's gonna make it. But she said that she thought he was spraying something that was gonna knock her out.
Right.
Really? So you just opened the door and jumped out, you moron?
But again, we only have her side of the story. Maybe he wasn't spraying. We don't know exactly what happened in that car. And my point is, because he took this risk of putting a minor in the back seat, his life was ruined. And on top of that, his reputation with his friends and family all ruined that. And he never got a chance to plead his case and to tell his story. It's done. It's over. His life is ruined in so many different ways because he made a horrible mistake. 99.99%. It doesn't matter. What I can promise you is 100% of the time, if you don't let the minor in the car by themselves, you made the right choice.
Correct.
100% of the time. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back here on the radio site, TNCRadio.live. Stay right there.
So can we talk a little bit about all the other things that he did wrong? Why was he smoking in his car when there's clients in the car?
We don't know if he was.
Well,
she says he was.
I do know this. I do know it hasn't been reviewed, but because the report said that there is dash cam footage. So
there was dash cam footage. Yeah.
Right. And until
however, the second you put a minor in your car, we all know. First of all, both rideshare companies immediately step away. They have nothing to do with it. You're an independent contractor. You put a minor in, they're done.
Yep,
but you're steps away immediately too.
Yeah.
You are
Yeah, you violate the. So, did he smoke in it? Maybe the last person who got in the car smelled like smoke. I've had people get in my car who they put out the cigarette as they're getting in the car, and I know that the next person in the car can still smell it.
Right.
But I wasn't smoking.
To be honest, I've had drivers smoke.
Oh, I've seen drivers smoke.
No, I mean, like when I get in, this was pre-pandemic, so like I'll be going to a concert and they'll have a cigarette going. I'm like,
I got to step away. We'll be back.
You know, it's like Jesus.
I mean, I smoked many years ago. I can't imagine there's no worse thing than smoke in a small room. I mean, I see drivers who smoke in between rides. Even it's like I don't even know why they would do that. It's nasty.
No, dude. Because you know what? I don't. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I don't give bad ratings. I really don't. You would have to literally.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Do something so over the top. Like I might not tip you well. I might, but I'm going to be honest. I kind of give 5-star to everything.
That's what I do.
You know what drivers go through. But yeah, it'll affect your tip, that kind of thing. But dude, honestly, if you don't know that smoking in your car is going to get you eventually deactivated, you're not paying attention.
Correct.
Because people will complain and be like, dude, people, not me or you, will 1-star them.
Oh, sure.
It's disgusting.
But I see drivers in my market and drivers in between rides at the airport or whatever. They sit in their little cabin smoking.
Sure.
They don't even get out.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. Don't smoke in your car.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I hate getting into my sister-in-law's car. She smokes in her car and it stinks. It reeks.
Yeah.
But
she also doesn't use it for rideshare. It's her car. So she can do whatever she wants. Right. Jason says, look at the camera. I don't want to. Go away.
I'm not seeing any of the chat, by the way, because I'm not on.
No, I know.
YouTube.
No. Steve sounds like a smoker.
I just know. I'm saying it to the people. I'm saying it to the people in chat. Like, don't think I'm ignoring anything. I'm just not seeing it tonight, guys.
No. I understand. So a comment is saying in 2015, I used to let people smoke in my car because I only did bar close and got some crazy tips from people. I mean, I can see why you would want to do that. I would never. Even people who want to vape in my car, I say no. Put it away.
In 3, 2, 1. Welcome back in TNCRadio.live Friday night. Tom and Jesper and Steve, we're all with you here till, we got about another half hour or so talking about all things around the gig economy, rideshare, all that kind of good stuff. Steve, you had a link on here, and I forget where it went back to right now, that said of all the delivery that's out there, Uber Eats is the worst. But there was no data behind. I mean, there's nothing there.
I know. The funny thing too is like we did a little poll with the roundtable group, and like everybody was using, like, their primary app was not Uber Eats on our roundtable. Like, they was like, I use DoorDash, I use this, and yet I asked everybody, hey, now and January 1st, you could only have one app, and you have to just base it on today. Right now, you have to make your decision, and you can't change it. Which app would you take? And everybody said Uber Eats. Everybody. And I was like, none of you guys choose Uber Eats. Y'all hate it.
I use Uber Eats, and I like it more than DoorDash for a couple of different reasons. But yeah, I'm an Uber Eats customer, big time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so
speaking of
talk
Uber
about this
Eats,
drone thing.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Because I think this is pretty wild. So the drone, I don't know if you saw this, the drone service, Wing drones in Australia is now delivering, like they're fully operational right now. The drivers are pissed. They can get you food anywhere in under 15 minutes. So here's the deal though. The drone can carry payloads as long as they are not over 2.5 pounds. And the drones travel at a speed of 70 miles per hour. So I'm thinking, dude, like mosquitoes and stuff in Australia are like the size of a fist. So like, isn't that bag going to come with just dead bugs all over it? And
well, they must have ways against that, right? So everything is protected in a case or something like that.
Yeah, we were talking about how, like, if it sees a flock of birds, is it going to go all evasive and get Top Gun-ish? And, you know, you go, oh, birds, you know. Because eventually the birds are going to start to smell the McDonald's, and they're going to be like, wait, I don't need to go land anymore and just pick it off the sky?
The next thing they're going to be, they're going to be adding guns and stuff to these drones so they can go shoot the birds if they see them.
Well, I think I'm pretty confident when I say the first 200-300 drones that fly over Texas skies will be shot down. And I'm not really being silly. I'm being somewhat serious.
No.
They will be shot down.
Yeah, I've said that too, and people are like, no. I think it depends on what state you live in. Like, I agree. Here in Colorado, everybody I know is like, some of the people I know are even like, I'm kind of looking forward to drones so I can shoot them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's not like you're allowed. You can't shoot them, and they're like, well, I'm gonna though.
Right.
It's definitely an I don't care. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Not, how do I put this? I have heard of people who will, shoot, birds and squirrels and stuff from their bedroom window. I don't think it's going to be any problem at all to have some 16-year-old sitting there with some bird shot and picking off drones as they fly by.
But at the same token, though, it's going to be a few years until we have that amount of drones in the air.
Well, Australia's going big. Like they launched. Is Logan is a city? Is it a city in Australia?
I don't know.
Probably is.
That's where they've launched completely. Now they're about to go like all over the country with these things. But here's my catch: is that 2.5 pounds. That's not much.
No, that's not.
Like you can't. You're not really carrying that much.
Especially, I mean, if you're talking about, let's say you're talking about a meal from McDonald's. Okay, so you got a quarter pounder, which is about a quarter pound, and then you throw into that, the packaging, and you add into that a large sweet tea, and you add into that a medium-sized fry. All of a sudden, this weighs. You're getting up there. That's just for one person.
Right.
Okay. So, so I'm ordering hamburgers for the family, or let's say I'm getting pasta. There are a lot of pizzas that weigh more than 2.5 pounds.
Oh, absolutely.
But 2.5 pounds is not very much.
Well, and there must be some also. I mean, you brought up pizza. I mean, what is so weight is one thing, but it's also going to be, how big it is. That must be a factor as well.
That has to be a factor. There's got to be a drag coefficient, and how it affects the aerodynamics of the drone and all that kind of stuff. All of that has to play into it, right?
They can put the pizza on, but they have to fold it 2 times.
Well, that's Brooklyn style pizza.
If you do. So, by the way, the wing drones are made by Alphabet, which is Waymo.
Right.
So, Alphabet Waymo is
which is Google.
Things. But
which is Google, yeah.
So, if you, yes, right, the whole world just ties into one company. That's so sad. If you Google search wing drones, you'll see them. You'll see exactly what I'm looking at. And the case that holds it looks so weird. They've got so it has 12 propellers on the top, and it has 4 on the front.
They're cool, though. I like them.
Yeah, to play with, but not to deliver food. I mean, I don't know, man. They don't. These things don't land. They do these I don't know how these work, but the ones that we've seen that Gary Middleton and I were looking at that do work have these cables, so they actually drop them, and they do this, and it's a straight drop. But these don't have that. It's more like I don't know if it's like a parachute system or what it is.
So they don't, and they just drop them out as they fly.
They have a cable. They have a cable.
Yeah, the most of the ones I've seen have a cable. I haven't seen if this one does. I haven't seen it yet.
So when I'm on the wing.com, they do have the cable, and then the case is a recyclable case. Yeah.
Right, but they need to make that able to hold 10 pounds, guys. I mean, I don't know, really, who can be ordering off this? If it only can carry, and it's up to, it doesn't even make it sound like 2.5 is safe. It's it can do up. When you hear up to, that means don't go to 2.5.
Right.
And then let's not forget either, is it's not going to be very windy, so they can't work at all. I mean, that has to be a factor into it as well.
Yeah, and apparently now they're having issues with the drones flying too close to the airports. They're in Queensland. Oops.
Yeah. I think drone technology is great. I don't think that it's food ready yet, because I think that there are a lot of people who already have some issues about privacy. And I think with companies like DoorDash, especially, the most untransparent, sketchy app company in the world, is flying drones around. I mean, we already know these companies the Uber safety feature that now passengers and drivers can audio record the rides, all that stuff. Well, you know what? Uber uses ADT for their 911 service. So if you're audio recording and they need it, it goes to ADT to determine if it needs to go to 911. Guess what, guys? I have a phone. I'll just call 911.
Right.
I'm not going to play this game. Uber, I don't trust you. I don't care. And I have a feeling that you're clicking an I agree to the terms of service box that says that they'll be selling more data, more marketing tools like they're doing with the advertising. I just have a feeling that because they talked about this years ago and now they're bringing it out, at a time when they're bringing out advertising based on where you're going, where you live, all this. Like, they're really going too far now.
So we were quoting a study the other day, Steve, that if you actually read the entire terms of service for all the things that you click yes to, it would take something like 1,200 hours a year to read all the stuff that you agree to.
Gary Middleton, on everything you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Gary Middleton reads every gig app service, every update, everything. In fact, we go to Gary and ask him, Gary, what's the update say? Because we don't want to read it.
No, yeah, I'm talking across the board. From your, I'm talking like from your bank and everybody else. You open.
Yeah.
If you read it all, it would be almost a full-time job for 6 months.
I gotta say this real quick. I gotta say, it's Newsom.
It's what?
And here's why, guys. In your face, Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you guys are aware of this. You're aware of Prop 30, right? Prop 30 was Gavin Newsom said 35% EV hybrid by 2025 must be what places are selling, and then 8% increase per year after. Okay, well, to meet that, they started busting out the numbers. And so what I give Lyft, as much as we hate Lyft, here goes my Lyft little plug of credit, because I love this. John Zimmer from Lyft started Prop 30. And what it said is that, okay, there is no possible way to achieve the structure and everything needed to hit these dates. Right. So the only way to do it is this much money. And so he started Prop 30, which is that the top 1% or 2% or whatever it is of the wealthiest in the state would be paying 90% of the tab. Right. Gavin Newsom, the biggest energy guy on the planet, green everything, we're going to do this. This is his plan. He started a group to fight Prop 30, saying they don't want to pay for it.
Right.
And so Prop 30 got shot down, and so now they're saying that the timeline that Newsom set is bogus. And we already knew they probably wouldn't make it, but now they're making it public. This isn't going to happen. He lied, and he doesn't even want to take his own responsibility for it.
I don't think it's...
And I love it.
I think the thing is they think they're going to get this by taxing people for electric vehicles and everything. I don't think people get how much taxes are going to be required to maintain the infrastructure of an electric vehicle world.
I don't think they understand that the grid in California is a joke.
Well, yeah, we're saying the same thing.
Biggest and the most population, though, of the grid sits on the San Andreas fault line. Are you kidding me? Like, are you stupid?
The point.
I mean, honestly, I just don't get it. Like, the grid has problems right now, and you can't go in and say let's shut it down and rebuild the grid. That's not a thing we can do. You can go patchwork the grid, but you can't rebuild it.
Right.
You can only go duct tape it, and therefore you can't be saying let's put an EV charging station in everybody's house. Really? How's the grid hold that, Tommy? Gavin Newsom, it was 111 out, and he told the whole state they had to turn the air conditioners off. But they can all have EV chargers. How's that work?
No, it doesn't. And
right. Yeah. And so here's my thing. His whole plan seemed bogus from the get-go. At least with Lyft dying, I love that Lyft went out with a bang and said, let's fight him on this. We're done anyway as a company. Like, let's just fight him on it. So they did this thing, and now they've made him look like a complete moron, which I love. I love it.
So how many years do you think Lyft have
I
left?
think,
You said they're done.
They don't.
man,
I'll say
it's
they
not.
don't
I
exist
mean,
by the
nothing's
end of
set.
next year.
I don't know, dude.
They
I
don't
mean,
exist the way
Jesper,
they
you
exist
know,
right
we've been
now.
waiting and waiting and waiting to find out, to see if Lyft could merge with somebody, if they could do something. Are they going to pick up food delivery? And then they did that weird thing, and they just never got into any space in time. And they left Canada and the few other places they were. They're only here in the United States. They only offer rideshare, and Uber is killing them. And at this point, there's nobody left to merge with. I mean, Grubhub is either going to go under or Prime will buy it for something. But if Prime doesn't pick Grubhub up at the end of this contract right now, at the end of the year, or at the end of the year that started in May, the next May, if they don't pick it up, my guess is Grubhub immediately goes out of business. Grubhub's only hope right now is that Prime does buy them and doesn't just go, well, we acquired what we needed from you, screw up. Because Grubhub can't get back in the game at that point.
Tom, what were you saying?
I was thinking maybe Grubhub and Lyft, but dude, Lyft has nobody to partner up with. Nobody wants part of it anymore.
All right, we're going to take a final break on the
horrible.
radio side. We'll be back in just a few minutes. You're listening to TNCRadio.live.
And then it's about ready to do a final 10 minutes.
Yep.
Then I gotta hit the road.
My head is thumping, dude.
Do you know? Is it the COVID? Do you know what it is, or?
Just I'm just super sick, man. Who knows?
No, I know, but have you done a test? Do you know what it is, or is it just a cold, or?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think I know what it is. I don't want to put it out there though.
Okay.
It could be one thing. It could be another.
Rideshare,
but at this point, man, to be honest.
Hey, Steve, Rideshare Lisa texted you a while back. She wants to know if you got her text.
Oh no, because I'm using my phone right. My phone's on the desk, and I'm on my earbuds.
Yeah. Okay.
No, Lisa, I'll check after as soon as we end the stream. But yeah, I'm just kind of sitting here like holding my head. Whatever. But yeah. Yeah, thinking has been difficult the last 2 days.
Yeah, Lisa says she'll join us next week if she's not working.
Nice.
Well, Lisa knows she can join us if she is working.
She can join us anytime.
That's right.
It'd be fun to have her on the camera, though.
Yeah, but it's also when this summer when she was filling in, she would some of the nights she went out and worked, and she'd have to kill her camera for a bit, and then between things she'd come back on, but she'd still have the camera killed but the mic on, or she'd still be a part of it, and she'd be working, so we'd actually be a little bit involved with what she's doing. So it's kind of fun, she can join in any way she wants. So I think we gave her the forever pass, right?
Oh yeah, definitely has the forever pass.
Yeah.
Now 58 degrees, almost a, what is that, 20-degree drop since the start of the show.
Out here, it is 35 degrees.
I don't know how you guys do it.
Well, I think we might get close to freezing tonight, which is going to be good for my after midnight, because people don't want to walk. So make me busy.
All right, coming back, and we'll have right at 10 minutes left. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome back in TNCRadio.live. Friday night, that means we're talking Driver Nation and all things around the gig economy. Happy to have you in here with us. I'm Tom, along with Steve and Jesper. Guys, we've got about 10 minutes left or so, but before we get into our final topic, let's talk real quick about how can people hear more about you and what it is that you do. We'll start with you, Jesper. Tell us about how people can find out more. And did you do a show this week? Are you doing one next week? I lose track of all that.
So we did do a show this week. Last Wednesday at 8:00, we did our gig economy show, and obviously you can always find us on gigeconomyshow.com. We made away with the dash a while back. You can find us at gigeconomy-podcast.com, but it's much easier to find us at gigeconomyshow.com. If you have questions or concerns, you can always email us at team@gigeconomyshow.com as well. And that's the best way of getting a hold of us.
team@gigeconomyshow.com.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And then the people can reach out and let you know. So tell us about the show you just did.
So again, we just kind of every other Wednesday, Jason and I get together and kind of shoots the breeze, an hour over the microphone. We talk about everything newsworthy, and have a lot of fun and just reaching out to our community, talking about the fact that I'm back driving and loving it, and Jason is now also driving. He's also doing gig work again full time, and so that's fun to have him back on the road. He's not driving passengers yet, but he's out doing all the other gigs, because we talk about everything gig economy, not just anything that has to do with driving and passengers and so forth. It's everything gig economy, and it's fun to talk about and reach out and talk to some of the new gigs in the space, and new players and new ways for people to make money. Yeah,
cool. All right. Steve, how about for Rideshare Rodeo?
So, yeah. So it's easy now. It's still bouncing, but don't worry about it, guys. RideshareRodeo.com. That takes you to, it'll rebound to Uber Lyft drivers for now, but soon it won't. But just don't worry about that. RideshareRodeo.com. From there, you can get to the podcast. You can get to all the socials. You can get to the news. And then I have started, I've always been part of Team Para, but I have really upped my game. I am stepping into a much, much, much bigger role with ParaWorks, much bigger. And I will have more. It might be actually the reveal of the details I can give. I already know some, but I can't do it right now. But next Friday, I might be the reveal, Thursday or Friday, or it might be the following Monday, Tuesday. It's going to be somewhere in that zone. But I'll be able to give all the details, because we have a lot of stuff available for gig workers now.
Wow.
The one thing I can say that's huge is that ParaWorks is up and running in many cities. We were only in California, then we were in 8 cities, and right now we're popping up everywhere. And right now that I know of, we're in about 40. And we're guaranteeing $22 to $25 an hour, working for catering gigs and merchandising and stuff like that, where they don't want to have to hire out their own people, and they want experienced gig workers. And since the Para app has 200,000 users nationwide active, we can use geolocations and say, hey, in your market, we have this many drivers. then we can also put out a Slack to them and say, hey, how many would be interested in this type of work? We're finding an overwhelming number of people wanting to do it. And in every city we're launching in, it's tough to even grab the gigs because when they go up, people are grabbing them right away.
Wow. Very cool.
We're working with some huge companies that don't want to work with any of these, that have worked with DoorDash and all these other companies and don't want to anymore.
Very cool.
So,
well, here
I'm going to have a lot of information on it next week.
Cool. I'm looking forward to. Yeah, I mean, you've got me curious now.
Yeah.
Here at TNCRadio.live, we got a lot of stuff cooking right now as well. We are having a lot of fun. The station's been growing a lot recently, and so we invite you to continue to listen in. And we've got some strong partners that we're working with, the Truckers Network and the trucker.com. We're having a fantastic time, all working together, helping each other out, and making a lot of good stuff happen, just like we do here on Friday nights, working with the guys from the Gig Economy podcast and Rideshare Rodeo. It's been a very successful year as we start to look at wrapping up things. Obviously, we've got just a couple of weeks. We're here next week. The week after, we'll be on break because it'll be the Thanksgiving Friday. It'll be the Friday after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, as they call it. So can you believe that Thanksgiving is now less than 2 weeks away?
Time goes way too fast.
Yeah. So all things to start, and you're gonna have to get your Christmas shopping done pretty soon, all that kind of stuff. So we've got less than 5 minutes here. So let's do kind of final thoughts and words for this evening. Jesper, I'll let you go first. Final comments, thoughts, anything else that you wanted to mention or say before we wrap things up?
Just mainly that now that I'm back driving, again, I just want to tell to my fellow drivers out there, just be careful, make wise choices. We talked about that tonight already. Make sure that the people who get in the car is something that, keep yourself safe. Make sure the choices that know that the choices you make affects your family as well. And so just make wise choices and stay safe out there.
There you go. Thank you very much for that. Steve, I know that you've been under the weather tonight, but anything that final thoughts that you want to leave us with for the evening?
Yeah, all gig workers, live fast, take chances. Just kidding.
Thanks, Steve.
No, here's one thing I will say. I really am hoping that that Shift and some of these other things that used to do well in my market, every market's different. I'm hoping that they come back around because like last Christmas, Shift was great to work. Tips were great, everything. And it wasn't a new app. We know a new app will always bring in high pay, but Shift had already been around, and around the holiday, it was just a great app to work. Since February, March of this year, it's been awful to work. And I'm really hoping that the holidays bring some of this back with some of these apps like Shift. I don't expect them to go back to their honeymoon stage pricing, but I really expect bigger tips and some of the incentives to get us back going, like sparks dying off in most markets.
Right.
As too many drivers, like things that we just we always know will happen, but it's happening. We're facing record high inflation. People are getting very concerned about Christmas. You just mentioned Thanksgiving. I was just reading articles today on how where are you getting your food for Thanksgiving if you don't already have it? And I was like, what? Like, I mean, this is a big deal, and like things are weird, and the apps need to get a pop for the holidays.
Yep.
The workers need it.
Yeah, they do. I'll leave you all with this too. I started talking about the inflation issues in June last year, that we were going to be running into major inflation. Now what we're seeing on the trucking side is an incredible drop, especially in the last 60 days in available loads And that means the economy is cooling off very, very quickly, perhaps a little too quickly. But the good news is, I think inflation will drop significantly here in the next few months. The problem is that it might drop a little too significantly, if you understand what I mean. So be prepared. Hopefully you've saved your pennies for a rainy day, because it might be rainy, but it won't last. This is just a blip in the road, and we'll all make it through it. And so stay safe, and be careful out there, and don't let unaccompanied minors ride in your vehicle.
Don't let them drive your vehicle either.
Don't let them drive your vehicle either. That's a good point. All right. Hey,
yeah, you got, and that's it. Yeah.
We're out of here on the radio side for a Friday night. I have a fantastic weekend. We'll be back with you next Friday right here. TNCRadio.live, Driver Nation. Stay tuned next for what I got coming up, the gig economy. So get one of those episodes, find out all about them. TNCRadio.live. Stay tuned. Okay, guys, we're out on the radio side.
Thank you very much. I think we're gonna say goodbye online as well. I gotta hit the road, and thank you guys for whoever stayed on, Rideshare Lisa and all your other everybody else. Yep. Thank you so much, guys.
We appreciate both of you watching.
Both of you. Thanks for that one, Tom.
All right. Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye, guys.